Hello, hello, and welcome to today's live conversation with Women Thrive. I am so excited to have you here for today's live and, of course, introduce my lovely guest, Neo Queiro. Hello, Neo, how are you?
Hi, Ray. Such a pleasure to be here.
Where are you joining us from today?
Dallas, Georgia.
Oh, I
Wonderful, the
love that.
United States.
I hope you're avoiding snow this time around.
We're back to Georgia weather. It's good.
Oh, good. Well, I am very excited because our audience will get some time to hang out with us today and also get to know our lovely guest today. Neil is a wonderful author from Volume 5 of the Women Thrive book. And this month, we have been doing lots of features of our authors and just getting to know a little bit about behind the scenes of these women's stories, lives, and just really what drives the passion for them to share their story with the world. So, just a little bit about Neo. She's an award winning author, speaker, board member. She's a strategic advisor and healthcare finance professional, as well as executive leadership coach. She was also named as one of the top 25 innovators in 2021 by Modern Healthcare. And she's definitely an unstoppable force in the healthcare industry and innovator in music therapy. Well, Neil, good to have you here today.
My pleasure. I'm so excited to talk to the audience, talk to you again, which I just love to do.
Yeah, and I know you do a lot of speaking, so I guess today we just really want to get to know a little bit about yourself, about your story. Before we came on, we were talking a little bit about children and kind of our experiences as moms. And before we came on, you gave me a title which was a little bit intriguing of why we want to talk about this subject today. I guess in today's world, maybe it's not so uncommon to feel like I don't want to grow up. So, but here we are. Clearly, we've gone through our childhood. I know many people have gone through various turbulences in their childhood. Certainly, I've gone through my own challenges. But Neil, I know your childhood was not always what you would expect for children to go through. So, tell me a little bit more about why you chose this title for today's conversation.
You know, it's one that we live in silent about. When I wrote my chapter, I made it a point to make it a very pivotal part of the chapter to talk about how the impact of when I was an 8-year-old child and had to tell my mother, you have a terminal disease and we're going to go through the treatments and be her translator through healthcare.
Mm,
That moment in time, I stopped being a child. I became a caregiver. And I saw all my friends go out and play, and I wasn't playing. I was caregiving. I was there for her appointments. I was there. And it's so funny that there used to be this incredible commercial that says, I don't want to grow up. I want to be a Toys R Us kid. But most of us don't get the opportunity to just be a child, and with women and men, it's even more different. Men, society has set them up to be children as long as they want to be, because the mother is taking care of them and nurturing them. And even society sets things up so that they have the sports club and they have all these activities to be in the same fun that they had as kids. Where women, we're nurtured to be caregivers. We're
mm,
nurtured to start taking on responsibility. And, you don't even get the chance to be a kid, get the
yeah,
chance to be silly, get the chance to just be.
yeah,
And the thing about it is, I take great joy in who I am and who I've grown up to be. But you also have to channel the use and the fun part of who you are so you could be a complete person.
yeah,
So all I'm saying is pause and and don't grow up for a minute and have your moment because you
yeah,
deserve it.
yeah. How old were you when you had that experience?
I was 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And,
Wow.
it was so bad that my mother was in and out of hospitals. She actually was in a coma for a little bit. And my brother and I, my father worked multiple jobs to pay bills and keep things going. And my brother Henry and I, we took care of the house. We did the cooking, we did the cleaning, we did the paying the bills. Um, you know, he was 11, I was 8, and there we were, two kids running a household. It's insane. And at age 12, I had so much stress that I ended up with hypertension.
Wow.
The good news is after a little bit and treatment and doctors helping me and therapy, I was able to not have to do medicine, and I've never had hypertension since. But think about how much stress a 12-year-old would
Yeah.
have to be on hypertensive medication.
That's insane, insane. You know, the childhood experiences, what we don't realize when we are in it, and I can say from my experience as well, there was things that I've also shared in the book, and not this particular volume, but shared in the previous volumes about my life experiences and being left on my own at the
Yeah.
age of 11, I think it was.
Wow.
Not losing my parents, but there was circumstances that I
Hmm.
had to just be on my own. And I have not realized how much, not stress, but trauma that has created in my life in later years, and how it started to affect me and my sense of safety and self-worth and sense of abandonment because of those experiences. So do you find that because of that experience later in life it either led you to certain choices in life, or do you feel like it has caused a long life trauma after that?
Yeah, yeah. I have to be honest. It was a long life trauma that I was not aware of, just like you weren't. You
Mm.
didn't, the thing about it is when you have trauma, it's not the actual situation that is your trauma. You have to look for the initial source of your reaction to the trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I found after deep, intentional diving into how I was going to overcome my trauma, that it was that pivotal moment as that 8-year old that made me closed. I made a point of not being a problem to anyone, to
Mm.
just be a servant. I had the best grades. I Anything that I did, I had to be number one so they could be proud and I wasn't a burden. And even when I went into scholastic life and then my jobs, I was always called the overachiever.
Mm.
If you could get 100, I would get 120. And which is insane, but the reason for it
Yeah.
was I wanted not to be a burden so bad that I
Yeah.
had no idea who I was.
Mm.
And I had no idea, you know, I didn't know what made me happy, what brought me joy,
Wow.
because I spent so much time doing all the things that others said should bring me joy. So if you do not go back to the source and you put it on a shelf and think that it's over because you are
Mm.
resilient and you persevered, resiliency is the empowerment to move forward, but you must deal with the source. The source, which is your past, is what's going to set you free.
Mm. Absolutely. Um, I know you published a book prior to being part of Women Thrive Collective, called Joy Notes. Tell me what inspired your solo book to write this.
So, Joy Notes was the inspiration behind it was when I went through multiple near life experiences. And I noticed that nobody talks about the personal journey, but people also don't talk about the impact that it has on others. And I wanted to give a space to discuss the impact of trauma and also how we can use music to help us maneuver through our trauma and come to the other side.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to have a space that our support system got a voice. And it's my story, but it's also the story of five other women that speak about how they use music to actually rally their tribe, their family, their friends to just celebrate the triumph after trauma.
Wow.
And they talk about how they used music. Some of them used it um, as a performance. Um, Gloria Gaynor is one, who is a disco queen. She is in my book, and she tells her story how music transformed her life and
Yeah.
brought her through. So I just needed people to know that even a mustard seed can change your life.
Yeah.
Music, and music is my mustard seed.
I love that. I mean, when you go through life challenges and adversities, and even just right now in the season that which we are now, sometimes I feel like there's so much chaos in the world. There's so much despair. There's so much pain, and actually, a lot of our conversations remind me, Ray, just tap into music. Just tap into
Yes.
music to change your vibrations, to change your mood, and so you can focus more on the positivity because negativity can't fight negativity. We need to counterbalance all of that. Now, in the latest book, which you co authored with Women Thrive and other
Mhm.
14 amazing women, you shared your story in it. Of transferring trauma into purposeful joy. Tell me a little bit, without giving all away, what can people expect when they read your chapter in this book?
They're going to expect to see confident vulnerability.
Wow.
They're going to be able to see that you have to embrace vulnerability in order to get to the triumph and the joy. And then you have to answer the one most difficult question in the world: what do you want?
I love that.
And that's really what the chapter is about: shedding the mask and coming into your triumph and joy.
Mm. Did you find any part of sharing your story? Because when you said courageous vulnerability, it kind of gave me chills. And it's not the first time hearing you say this expression, which truly resonates with me. I know being vulnerable is hard. Was there any part of you that perhaps had to face parts of yourself in sharing of the story?
Oh, yeah. I had to face my anger. I had no idea for the longest that I had anger issues. And I said, well, how could I have anger issues when I am not explosive? Everybody thinks that anger has to be aggressive.
Yeah.
That's not true. Angry, you can have anger and keep it very quiet under the exposure of who you show up. And that's the most dangerous anger
Mm, mm,
because nobody sees it, but you have it. Nobody sees it because you know how to control it for the visual eye, but you don't know how to control it for inside.
yeah.
And I had to deal with, I was mad. I was mad at the things that happened to me. I was mad of how I was being treated. And I wasn't doing anything to deal with it. All I was
Mm,
dealing with is how to move forward, how to be resilient, how to persevere. So until I stopped and dealt with my anger and dealt with who I was and why I was who I was, I couldn't move forward.
wow. Wow.
You just stuck otherwise.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that you shed a light because we come across anger in so many different forms, and it's not an emotion that we often discuss or bring into light or especially admit. So it's beautiful that you shared it today and just bring some awareness around it. I know it's a topic you've been recently talking about more on your platforms as well.
I have. I've been talking about avoidance, anger on my blog, and also in my podcast. And the reason for it is because we're in a state of chaos in the world. And I think we are more emotional than we've ever been.
Mm,
So people need to know they have a right to be angry. But it's really the pause of how you manage it and how you stay in awareness and make sure that you are not showing up outside of your authenticity.
mm. Wow. Apart from the wonderful books you have written and your amazing speaking that you do globally, what are the ways that you support others and also how do people connect with you?
Uh, wow. So I support people. The speaking is a very big way. I have a daily blog on LinkedIn that focuses on humanity and how do
Mm,
you show up as the best person that you can be. And we go into deep topics that nobody talks about. And then on Wednesdays, we have the leadership development piece of the blog, which is so exciting and I love because it gives everybody a chance to get that information that they normally did not get. As we went into the pandemic, we stopped teaching people how to be leaders. Um, I also have my podcast, Joy and Gratitude, which comes out every other week, and it's a great place. We have great guests, and it's a great place for you to be safe and discuss how to untangle you so you could come to your full purpose.
wow, amazing. And how do people connect with you, Neo?
So you could connect with me on LinkedIn, on Neo Cairo. You can connect with me on Instagram, again at Neo Cairo. You could also connect with me on Facebook, and just starting to forage into Twitter, but I'm not there yet. But most importantly, subscribe to the podcast. Joy and Gratitude on YouTube, and if you want to actually see us, but we also on any platform that you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. And your podcast is wonderful. And I know you blog every day, so that's just a wonderful way to stay connected and to really soak up your knowledge and inspiration. Now, thank you to all of our listeners today. If you have watched this, please make sure you share or leave a comment below. Let us know where you watched this from. If you have any questions, follow up with Neo after, you can also leave a comment below, and I'm sure we'll come back and answer any of your questions. Neo, thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful day. And again, congratulations on becoming a bestseller with the Women Thrive Collective. And I encourage everyone to grab yourself a copy of this book.
Thank you so much. And may everybody have a great day, but most importantly, focus on your purpose and live your life with joy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Neo. Great to see you today.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.